Hey there, welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam-Wilber, and as always, we're not monetizing these videos, so if you do take something away from this and want to support us, head over to vulpinecreations.com, and in 2022, you'll definitely want to keep an eye on that space because we have a lot of really cool things coming out. That's all the marketing and advertising we'll do. Let's dive right into today's video. It is December 27th today, so we're just winding down the Christmas festivities, hence the flannel shirt and the, we'll call it holiday weight, but it was a great time. Hope you guys had a great holiday and are gearing up for an awesome 2022. So with that, hopefully you're bringing yourself a lot of success in 2022 with your performing. So today's video, the topic is, what do we charge? How do you know what to charge? And it's one of the most common questions I get asked of people. How much should I charge for this event or for that event? Now, a lot of people have tried to tackle this topic on YouTube and in other places. The problem is it's a very difficult topic to talk about for many reasons, but the main one being nobody's the same. So what I charge for my specific clientele is probably drastically different than what most people may charge with their clientele. And theirs would be drastically different than everyone else's because of many reasons. How do you market yourself? What's the perceived value that you're giving to that client? What type of clientele are you working with? So let me just get to the brass tacks of it. The only thing I can tell you is what I've done throughout my career, where I started, what I started charging, and now what I sort of refuse to leave the house for less than. Doesn't mean it's the right way, doesn't mean it's the wrong way, it's just the way that I've done it. So I want to at least touch on the topic of what do you charge, what should you charge, and what is the potential that you could make as a working professional. So obviously there are different brackets of entertainers. Your children's show entertainer, they're not going to be making as much as, say, a corporate keynote speaker, okay? So we're going to be talking about the style of magic I perform the most, which is essentially somebody would find me cold. So whether they find me on Google, they saw my Penn and Teller performance, somehow they have found me or my website and they've reached out and said, hey, I'd like to hire you for an event. So currently, what I'm charging is I won't leave the house for less than $1,500. So if they want 30 minutes of strolling magic, I'm probably not the magician for them because I'll bill them out at $1,500, and that's too much for 30 minutes of strolling magic, specifically because they can go find another entertainer somewhere who will do it for far less than that. So my not leaving the house price is $1,500 for local events. That just means if I can come home the same day, that's my local event. So about 2 to 2.5 hours of driving, I consider local. Anything above that, I add on an additional $1,500. So if I'm staying somewhere overnight, it's now going to be a $3,000 fee to leave the house. Okay, that's just what I've done over the last few years prior to COVID. And there are a few things that work and don't work. The main thing is that it's not cheap, right? That's a pretty expensive magician. If someone wants an entertainer at their family reunion, that's a tough demographic to get into to not blink an eye at $1,500. Most of the time, when it's an event like that, a family event, I am turned down because they'll find somebody else. So I'm very apt to say to them, you know, my show fee is $1,500. When you hire me for the entire day. I never book 2 shows in one day because too many variables can come into play that will affect one of those shows. So I only book 1 show per day, and if you hire me, it's $1,500 for the day. That means I'm there to make your event better no matter what. From the start of the event to the end of the event, I'm there to be your helper. So if something happens and you need me to come in and fill out, great, I'll fill some time there. But you're hiring me for the full day. And I really emphasize that. When you hire me, you're hiring me for the day, and it's a $1,500 fee. I don't care if I'm doing 45 minutes on stage or if I'm doing 30 minutes of strolling. That's my fee. So normally they'll reach out, I'll say that to them, and I'll get either a kickback or just a nice, oh, sorry, that's out of my budget. I don't end there. Don't leave it at that. Help them find somebody in their budget, right? Because if you can be the person that helped them get the entertainment, awesome. The next time they need entertainment, they're gonna come to you again. So just try and help people, right? Don't be offended if you're too expensive for them. Just Let's play a little role play. Somebody comes out and says, I have a family event. I'd like you to come do some magic. It's my grandma's 80th birthday. Great, my fee is $1,500. That's for the entire day. That's a mixture of strolling magic as well as a stand-up show if the event dictates that that's something that we can do, but we can discuss all those details. They come back and say, oh, that's actually way out of our budget. I'm sure you're worth it. It's just not what we have to spend. Then I would respond with, no problem. I work with almost all of the top performing magicians in the country, and I'd be happy to find you somebody in your budget. What kind of budget were you looking to stick within? And whatever they say, 300 to 500, whatever it might be, you should know the magicians in your area and then be able to outsource some work to them. A, you're giving other magicians work, and B, you're becoming the person that got them entertainment for their event, okay? So I don't wanna under-stress that enough. Make sure you do your diligence in helping them find whatever they may need. It's not gonna put any money in your pocket. Now, sometimes entertainers will give you a kickback. If you book them a show, they'll give you 15 to 20%, but not all the time, and that's not why you should be doing it. You should be doing it to help the person that reached out to you for entertainment. Because if you can help as many people as possible, that will, trust me when I say that, will come back in spades. One of my favorite quotes of all time is, you'll get everything you want out of life as soon as you help enough people get what they want. And that's all it is. It's good business to help these people secure quality entertainment. Imagine they book someone off Thumbtack and it's just not a good magician and they're bad. They're never gonna book another magician again. Whereas if you can help them by vetting magicians, help them hire somebody you know is good, then next time maybe they have some more money or maybe they have a corporate event, next time they're gonna call you again. So set your price, and the way you set your price is it's trial and error, right? You know what kind of demographic you work for. You can look in your area, find out what other magicians are charging, and know you're probably around that ballpark. If you've got some TV accolades, right? I've been on Fool Us, and my Fool Us has a lot of views. So of course I leverage that heavily. Actually, after my Fool Us performance is when I upped my fee to $1,500. That was a pretty dramatic jump, okay? Here's something to consider. Let's say you're charging $500 a show right now, and you just wanna be making more money. You do 100 shows in a year, and you make $500 a show, okay? But you wanna make more. Well, if you just doubled your fee to $1,000, just overnight, double your fee to $1,000, you may be scared and nervous saying, oh, I'm gonna lose all my clients. You're not. You're gonna lose some of your clients, but you're also going to acquire new clients. I know that sounds weird, but I've had corporate booking agents say to me more than once, I'm sorry, we can't book you out because your fee is not high enough. If I try and propose you to this client, they're not gonna think you're a professional because your fee is too low. That's a very real thing. So if you're charging $500 and you just up it to $1,000, you have to do half the shows you did last year to make the same amount of money. So if you did 100 shows that year at $500, and then the next year you up it to $1,000, you only have to do 50 shows to make the same amount of money. So even if 50% of your clients disappeared because your fee went up, you're still making the same amount of money with half the work. You're also putting yourself in a demographic of people that look for those higher fee performers. So you have to know that you're good, and this should go without saying. Your show should be great. It should be as good as it possibly can be. The catch-22 is, how do you get your show to be good? You perform a lot. So if you know in your heart that you're in that space where you're performing to get your chops to become good, this is where I started out. $350 an hour, right? That was my fee. $350 an hour, and there's a 2-hour minimum, right? So I know I'm getting $700 for strolling magic. At that point in my career, I didn't have a stand-up show, so the only thing I was offering was strolling magic. And I did it for $350 with a 2-hour minimum for a long time. So I knew if I was going to a gig, I was getting $700 bucks. So that's where I started, and I was still pretty good at the time, but I knew I wasn't where I needed to be charging what I wanted. So that's a question you have to ask yourself. Where are you? How good is your show? You know, how ironed out are your scripts and your performances and your routines? Do you have a stand-up show? And if so, how good is it? How many times have you performed it? Are you really comfortable on stage? You know, these are questions you have to ask yourself that play a big part in what you should charge. So to wrap it up, when I first started, it was $350 an hour for Strolling Magic. I did that for many, many years, and then I upped it to $500 an hour, and I developed a stand-up show. If they wanted the stand-up show, it was $1,000 for a stand-up show and some strolling. After Penn and Teller, the TV appearance aired, my fee went up to $1,500 because I had something to justify to my clients. Hey, and this is the way I worded it, because of my Fool Us performance that just aired, I'm getting so many inquiries that I have to actually increase my fee. I didn't lose a single client when I did that. They all understood it. I even had people tell me, yeah, we were kind of wondering why you were charging so little, right? So after my Fool Us aired and I had some sort of press or accolades that really stood me above the rest, then I upped it to $1,500, and it's basically to leave my house, it's $1,500. So if you want my service, it's $1,500. And don't feel bad when people say, oh, that's so expensive. You'll get a few people that say that. No, it's not expensive. It's just out of your budget, right? We've all seen the TikTok and the things that go around that basically say, I'm not expensive, you just don't know my worth. So as far as pricing out your show, you have to know who's in your area, what your demographic is. If you're performing to corporate America, you're gonna be in the higher end. If you're performing for family events in an affluent area, you're gonna be in a little higher end. If you're doing strictly kid shows, schools and libraries and children's birthday parties, that's just not as much money. Doesn't mean you can't make $1,000 per kid show. You just have to add some stuff. You're not just gonna show up and do a magic show for $1,000. But if you show up, do a magic show, have your wife film the whole thing, and then give that parent an actual video of the event, now you're adding on these things that could get you up there. So to know your value is very, very important. Don't undersell yourself, but don't be greedy and charge more than you know that you're worth, okay? But also, if you're just stuck in a rut and you feel like, man, I wanna make some more money, it may be time to just double your fee. Whatever you're charging now, double it and see what happens. See if you lose half the clients. Okay, you lose half the clients, you're getting the same pay. But my guess is you won't lose half the clients, and you'll attract new clients because you're now in a different demographic to people who may be looking for that higher end entertainer. So as far as what you charge, it's always a safe bet to go with somewhere in that $250 to $350 an hour range for Strolling Magic. You need to be a good performer. You need to be able to handle yourself in a crowd and perform well. But if you can perform well and you've done it for quite some time, $250 to $350 an hour for strolling in my area is fair. If you're doing a stand-up show, I've seen anywhere from $550 up to $3,500, $5,000. There's not a lot of entertainers out there getting $5,000 a show. There are quite a few getting that $1,500 to $3,000 price range. So know your worth, know exactly what your perceived value is. What's your online presence look like? Is your website really good? Is it outdated? What are you actually offering to this client? Because they can find a magician anywhere. And when a magician, you go to Google and you'll find 1,500 in your small little area. But if you want someone who brings a certain value to that event, that's what they're buying, right? They're buying something besides just someone to be an entertainer. And if you can give them that, if the perceived value is that I will come and make every one of your employees feel amazing, feel grateful to work for this company, because throughout my magic show, I incorporate a message of appreciation. That's perceived value. And that's worth a lot. So don't underplay your perceived value and really focus on how can you make your perceived value higher than the next person who's on Google who just says, yep, I'll show up and do a magic show. So I know it's a weird video today talking about price and how should you price yourself out. It's just a really hard question to answer because there's so many different things that fall into this. Like, where do you live? How many times have you performed? What age are you? What's your demographic? Who are you performing for? So the best I can tell you is I started at $350 an hour. I'm now at $1,500 if it's a local event. If it's something outside of my travel area, then it's $3,000 and above. Doesn't mean that's right for everybody. That's a lot less than some should charge, and it's a lot more than some should charge. But I hope it helps you to at least gauge what you should be charging. Thanks so much for your time. We'll see you on the next one.